Thank you so much for joining us this morning at Transform Life. So grateful that you're here today. At Transform Life, our goal is to inspire life transformation by helping you make better decisions. Your decision today is on isolation, even in the darkest days. Did you know that isolation isn't your only destination? That even though you feel alone on this dark day, that you're actually not alone. And we'll talk about that today. Do you remember the darkest time in your life? The time where you felt anxiety and fear and uncertainty. When I think back in a time where I felt at my lowest point was just after we got married. We just purchased a home, and there I was, unemployed. That's right, no money, no income, nothing to show for me, and I literally felt like the whole world was like crashing down on me. And quite fact, literally, our garage door collapsed, and I remember looking at Jessica, and she looked at me, and we were asking ourselves the question, how are we going to pay for this? Have you been there before? A time where you wondered how you were going to get through the season that you're in? Maybe the season you're in right now is very isolating. Maybe you're feeling like this is a dark season in your life. If you could describe your isolation in one word, what would that be? I encourage you to share in the comments today, what is isolating you? What is something that you're fearful of? What is something that you're feeling anxious about? Feeling anxious about the virus? Is it health issues? We dealing with job issues, economic failures? What is causing you to feel anxious and isolated? I'm here to tell you today that no matter where you are today, that your isolation does not determine your destination. That's right, your isolation does not determine your destination. I remember when I was in my darkness, I started to believe things about myself that weren't true. I remember looking in the mirror and seeing a guy that I hadn't shaved in weeks, and I definitely couldn't grow facial hair then, and I really can't now either. But I couldn't believe the man that I was looking at in the mirror. It wasn't somebody that I recognized. Have you been there before? Have you been in a moment where you found yourself in a situation that wasn't you? Maybe it was a way that you acted. It was a choice you made. We've all been there, and we felt this isolation and darkness. Well, you're not the only one feeling that way. And in our study this week, we're actually in a study called Truths in Dark Times. And it's a great study that focuses on biblical truths during dark days. And one of the scriptures that we looked at was Psalm 13. I found a lot of, I just felt so comforted by Psalm 13 because of how relatable it was. This is David writing this, and this is really a prayer where he's praying for relief. Have you been there before where you've just felt in so much pain, so much depression, not knowing where the season's going to go, and you're just asking God for some relief, just for a break? Listen to these words. This is isolation at its finest. Listen to this. Psalm 13. How long, Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have a sorrowful heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me? Man, he said how long 4 times in 2 verses. It feels like we're asking ourselves the question right now. How long? How long are we going to be in this isolation, this social distancing recommendation? How long are you going to be feeling uncertainty about your career? How long are you going to be feeling worried about your relationships that you're in your life? How long are you going to be worried about the health issues? The addictions keep creeping into your life. That sin that just won't go away just keeps creeping in. How long until we can finally conquer this? I could totally relate to what David was saying. How long? Maybe you're asking that question today. This is verse 3. This is after asking how long. It's like he's just pleading with God and like, what is going on? In verse 3, look on me and answer, Lord my God, give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. And my enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. It's like he's having a conversation with God, but it's almost like he's shouting, right? It's almost like, how long? And like, tell me what I'm missing. Give me an answer. Light the way so I can see what you're trying to do because I don't get it. Whatever season you're in today, maybe you don't get it. Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe you've been in this season for a long time. Maybe this is the second or the third or the fourth time you've been in this season. You're asking God, how long? Why? Why is this happening to me? Why is everything crashing in on me? Why do I feel so anxious and afraid and worried? How long till you fix this? How long till you get me out of this? But what I noticed, and which really changed, is verse 5. It's like there was this shift. And listen to this. Remember, he goes from saying, "How long, Lord?" and "Look at me, give me an answer," feeling like God's not looking at him. And here's what it says in verse 5: "But I trust." The word "but" is extremely important. It's like a pivot. And the word "but" is basically saying, disregard everything I just said, and here's what I need to do. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. It's like he remembers that God's love doesn't stop. Even though there's darkness, even though he's feeling isolation, God hasn't gone away. He finishes verse 6 by saying, "I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me." For he has been good to me. It's almost like he rewound back in time and remembered all the times that God brought him out of those seasons, the season of worry and anxiety and issues that he faced. It gave me confidence to think, wherever I'm at right now, whatever I'm struggling with, maybe I should think back in time to the times that he brought me out of my troubles. Think back in your days and think back in your previous troubles. How did he take you out of them? How did he bring you out of that season? How did he get you out of it? And how did you triumph? Maybe there was a season that you overcame sickness, issues with a job like I did. I encourage you, share that in the comments and talk about how God is showing the way through these dark times. How is his glory shining in the darkness? Has done it before and he will do it again. He will bring you out of this season. There's times where you feel forgotten and forsaken. And in the scripture, David was feeling that way. How long, right? But despite feeling forgotten and forsaken, he hasn't forgotten about you. And I love the way that this is described and talked about in Isaiah chapter 49, verses 15 and 16. He said, it says, "Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child that she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you in the palm of my hands. Your walls are ever before me." Imagine a mother who loves her child. How could she forget her baby? How could she forget? In the same way, God loves you so much. He created you. He has your name engraved on his palms. How would he ever forget about you? You see, the sun is always shining, even though on the darkest days where the clouds are covering the sun, just because you can't see the sun shine doesn't mean the sun is not shining. Until that moment where he breaks through the clouds and you can see the light through the darkness, the sun still shines even though clouds fill your sky today. I love how he compared it to being a mother and how she cannot forget. And then it talked about how you are engraved in the palms of your hands. See, at this time, when this was written, people, they would engrave history on walls. They would basically iron out on a wall and describe someone's life. It kind of reminds me a little bit about what we do today with headstones, right? It is engraved. You've heard the word set in stone. Same concept. It is engraved. And what it says here is that you are engraved in the palms of his hands. He has your whole story. He has your entire life in his hands, and he's waiting to be there for you. He's waiting to help you through this season. In my life, I've wondered at times if he's completely forgot. But when I rewind back in time after I've gotten through whatever I was getting through, I wondered if he'd forgotten about me. But usually, it was me forgetting about him. We get so consumed with our problems. We get so consumed with our successes. When life is going good, when life is going bad, sometimes we just try to do it on our own. And usually, that's when isolation happens, when the relationship, when the connection isn't there. So if you're feeling isolated today, how long has it been since you reached out to God? In those moments, I remember what he did, what God did for us. He sent his son to die for us. And would you send your son to die just so the person that he's saving could sit there in despair, in isolation, in sadness, in fear? He doesn't want any of those things for you. In fact, he has a plan. It reminds me of one of my favorite verses. Jeremiah chapter 29 says this, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." He has plans for you. And in fact, your whole life's plans are engraved in the palms of his hands. He's already understood and planned out everything for your life. So why to worry? Why to have anxiety? Why to have fear if he has everything planned out for you? And see, his plan is focused not on your isolation, but your salvation. You see, he has plans already ironed out, and despite what you're feeling right now, it's temporary. And one of the verses that reminds me of that is Romans chapter 8, verse 18. It says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed to us." See, the sufferings you're feeling today are real. You're feeling the pain. That's what it is on this earth. We feel pain, we feel suffering, but none of this can even compare to what glory will be in eternity. The isolation you're feeling today doesn't make sense. But the reality is it's only temporary. And he has a plan for you, a glorious plan. What I've learned is that in times of crisis builds courage, and that fear drives faith. Light overcomes darkness. Trust overcomes isolation. And trust reminds us of who he is and what he has done. Think of what David said, how long, how long? But immediately his mind rewound to realize that, you know what? Isolation is not my destination. Glory is my destination. And if I put my trust in him and remember what he did for me, it'll build my trust, it'll build my faith, and I'll be able to overcome this season. Wherever season you're in right now today, you will be able to overcome this isolation. And if you're feeling isolated today, I encourage you, please reach out to me. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to pray with you. And if you're ready to take the next step in faith, I would love to help you through that next season. So please reach out. Remember that this is only temporary and that you have much more planned for your life. Thank you so much for your time investment today with Transform Life. I hope you took away encouragement and hope, knowing that even in the darkest days that you are not alone and he is there with you. You know, the opposite of isolation is connection. Wouldn't it feel nice to feel connected in this dark time? Well, we have an online growing community that would love to have you be a part of it. We're doing an online Bible study. It's simple and self-paced. I've said that before, I'll say it again. It's so easy. It goes at your time. You can spend 5 minutes on it. You can spend an hour on it each day. It's up to you. And what you'll see is you'll see other people just like you wanting to connect to the Word, to hear truth in dark days. And that's actually the study we're in right now. So go to the event on our Facebook page at Transform Life and click the link on the event for Truth for Dark Days. It'll take you right to the Bible study and you can join us today. I highly encourage you to do that, and I hope to see you there.